wake up, hit 100 push-ups, then I'm at my route. Check on my stocks, see how they looking, then I'm sliding out. When you start seeing your progression, you stop having doubts. And what's the point of having clout if you can't cash it out? True to this game, and I'm a lifer, ayy. Feel like we finna change the cycle, ayy.
Wazam with it, wealthy people. It is your man's David Bellard, one half of the Black Wealth Renaissance crew. You know what we're here to do. It's another great episode of the show. I'm here with my brother from another, the other half of the BWR team. Killer, what's good?
What's that with it? I don't know. I'm over here just posing. I was trying to see if I could throw you off your game. Well, he's a professional, guys. He stuck with it. So shout out to my dog. Man, I'm great, man. I'm blessed, blacktastic. I'm thriving and surviving.
Yes, sir. I love to hear it, bro. I definitely love to hear it. It's a beautiful another installment. Welcome back on a beautiful Wednesday, people. As always, y'all know what we here to do. We always come with conversations that's for the culture. We trying to elevate. So y'all know what we need y'all to do, right? Well, before that, man, how's life going, man?
Oh man, how is life going? Life is going pretty good, man. I'm not going to use that term that I told myself I'm not going to use. Yeah, life is going pretty great, man. Baby's still doing good, getting healthy. Just not as big as he need to be. What else? Out here, just really that's what I've been anticipating right now. Baby, get my mind right. Been working on cybersecurity stuff, trying to get that job too. So that's about it. My life right now, doing that, being dad, taking care of my kid. What else? I feel like I'm washed, bro. Like, I don't have nothing exciting.
Bro, no, you're not washed, bro. You just the pops, dog. Like you got a
Yeah,
baby and another baby on the way.
I don't know
But,
when. I can't tell you the last time
by
I
definition,
went out.
that is kind of washed, but you
Yeah.
also married, bro. You want to be washed when you married. Like why do you want to be in the streets and married, bro?
No, but I guess, well, the way that I'm looking at it right now, I'm just not in that season of life of like all the fun and all the other activities
okay.
right now. Like that's just not the
It's a
season that
season
I'm
of
in.
sowing.
And I've accepted that, bro. Like the season that I'm in right now, focus on my kids. Once again, focus on my wife, focus on the family, focus on scaling up in this career. Just really trying to scale up everything, right? So, like you said, that season of sowing, getting better, not being as out in the world.
Yeah. Hey, but that's manhood though. Like you're stepping up to your responsibilities and making sure you can provide to your family. That's like manhood in its essence. And I'm proud of you, my brother. I don't think black people black men themselves get told that much. And I don't know if we say it amongst ourselves as often. It's like, I'm proud of you, bro. You know what I'm saying? My boy
Man, thank
got
you, brother.
married, taking care of the family, upskilling. This is what we need to do as black men to make sure we taking care of home. Because it's actually
Right.
ties into the topic. One of the first topics we want to get into today, actually.
So there is a duality to it though, because I also feel like, you can still have fun while you're married. You can still
Yeah,
have
for
fun
sure.
as a parent and do all of those other things. It's just I haven't been doing that as much.
And I think it may not be that. I just think the fun changes, right? Because you do go do things for fun. It's just different things now. Like
Yeah, like I'm going out fishing or hanging out with the family, going to this water park or something like that. Those type of things.
yeah, see, my ass, I still be outside.
What about you, man? You outside? You in these
Man, I
streets?
ain't all the way in these streets, but I do pop out in Dallas occasionally. Whenever I'm told about some things, go to things occasionally. But nah, I've really been more so just focused on me. You know what I'm saying? Wellness has been a big focus. Diet has been a big major concern. Your mental diet as well as what I'm consuming. I've been doing better.
Oh, speaking of diet, we never brought up our competition.
Damn, you right.
We don't know who gotta have the freaky man beard.
We gonna have to wait.
I think we gotta reset. I think we gotta reset
Okay.
that. I think for the month of July, it's got to be on and popping.
Okay, that's fair.
At the end of June, we both weigh ourselves. We weigh ourselves. We put the stuff on the camera, on the pod. We see our weights and everything. Put it on the screen or whatever. Start that off for the month of July. Biggest loser.
Y'all
is
could
the
do
winner.
it with us. Listeners, y'all could do it with us. You know what I'm saying? It's summertime. Some of us, I ain't got my summer body. I was bullshitting, y'all. I ain't gonna hold you.
And nigga David said maybe next year.
Maybe next year. But I'm a big boy, but I ain't going to the beach with no shirt on, man. You can't do it.
Man, you gotta embrace that
Yeah.
shit. Body
I ain't
positivity.
going. Well, no, you know what I'm saying. No, I'm saying like I can't be over there with a shirt on. I realize how I said it.
Oh, you mean shirt
Yeah,
off? I
yeah.
got you.
Like
Yeah, I was about to say going to the beach with the shirt on. That's crazy work to me,
I'm
bro.
talking about. I talk like a Louisiana nigga, man. You know how we be saying no in the middle of sentences. My California roommate got thrown off by that at first.
Uh,
Challenge. I'm with it, bro. Let's do it. We'll do it live on the pod. Next episode that's gonna come out should be the first episode to come out in July. We'll do it live. And again, we want to encourage the listeners to join us because it's a wealth journey of mental wellness. I'm still getting through my book. I think I started it and I told you guys about it on the last episode, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. And I'm trying to get back into that flow, maybe we even could start like a Discord server, something for free. You guys let us know if that's something you would be interested in. We just really want to do something to help continue to build community around the pod. And yeah, I'm with it, man. Let's get it. Cause you gonna be rocking that freaky man.
hell nah, I'm straight. Hey man, so that's all you've been focusing on your health. You said you've been in the street. What type of
Man,
excitement you
I
been
went
having, man?
to a couple events, man. You know what I'm saying? I went to one event, went indulge in a little cannabis and brunch. And it was cool, you know what I'm saying? That was a cool event. Uh been out a couple times, going to some networking events, meeting dope people. I really enjoy those. I think that's one of the benefits of, Dallas and kind of just living where I
Hmm.
live. And really, I just been exploring the city, man. That's been one of my things with my biking. Just kind of getting out there and going to different parts, riding through all the little accessible areas that I have now. And it's cool. I think it's a
Hmm.
hobby that I'm gonna try to stick to. And really want to build with because I realize, man, it's a whole community, like communities of people that do things. And the biking community isn't a broke community. I'm just
Well, them niggas got
them
paper.
niggas got paper. Yeah, I don't know if y'all seen them old dudes that fly by you on them bikes, but I'm trying to get cool with communities of people with like-minded interests and like-minded sets, mindsets or whatever. Is the proper way to say that.
Yo, I promise. I was like, what?
Yeah,
I
after
mean,
it came out, I was like, yo,
but I feel
yeah,
you. That's dope, my brother. That's
yeah.
dope, my brother. Let me know how much them bikes and everything cost, and let me know whatever you run into some people with that bag, so we could either network with them, get them on a show or something
For
like
sure,
that.
man. I'll be out there on them trails, man. Y'all catch me in Dallas.
Hell yeah.
But
So, man, you ready to get this thing
yes,
started?
indeed. Yes, indeed. As always, guys, what we always ask, make sure y'all leave us that 5-star rating and review. It helps us continue to grow the show, and we love to hear that feedback from you all. So, mentioned it earlier, kind of prefaced it when I was talking to Jalen about him stepping up in fatherhood and manhood and as black men. A lot of times, that's a conversation that we shy away from, or it's painted in a divisive light more times than not, right?
You a simp.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think it speaks to a larger problem that we have as a community, and that problem is the black gender wars. Them social
Mm.
media gender wars is keeping the black community broke. And we have the data and statistics to support that shit. But before we get into it, like it's so much tired cliche conversations that continue to happen in our community. The biggest one being the 50-50 conversation.
Hey, bro, I'm tired of a 50-50 conversation.
Me
I've
too.
said I've said this before. I say it again. Do what worked for you, nigga.
We've had whole episodes where we had clips where we shared
That's
about it.
it.
That shit was
Just
3 years ago. We shared a clip about this shit, bro. Three
street.
years, and it's the same conversation. And the problem is, it garners the same attention and keeps people on that same topic.
Okay, so David, why you so adamant about this topic if niggas just can't see none?
Why am I so adamant about this topic? Because we're last. We're fucking last. And we've been last. And a lot of times it's easy to point the finger and victimize, which, hey, there are challenges. I'm never going to say as a black man that we don't face more challenges, more systemic challenges than most people in America. However, there are people that look just like you and I who have found ways to succeed. And a lot of those people tend to be in stable relationships. They, not everybody, there's always exceptions to the rule, but the majority of those people, the majority of millionaires, the majority of billionaires, successful people, they know what commitment is. They know how to commit. And in our community, I think we take it a lot lighter. And this conversation that we have all the time on social media, going back to what we were talking about with Millionaire Mind, right? Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. The shit you pay attention to manifest in your life. If you on the internet all day talking about these niggas ain't like your granddaddy, and niggas ain't shit, or man, these hoes ain't shit, and all they want is my money, and like, bro, this all you're putting that energy into the world. And it's like what Jalen said, bro, lose all the chatter and all this shit that sticks in your mind, all the shit you're consuming and reading, and do what works for you.
What you got? You
Yeah,
got a clip
man,
or
I do
something?
got a clip because just speaks to like how ridiculous and like out of pocket these conversations have become.
But I do agree with you. This isn't just in America, or like this is like a common theme among life. Like people that just commit, people that, you know, are more stable, they're able to do more. They're able to multiply. You're able to grow your abundance faster. So I definitely agree with you.
Indeed, indeed.
Oh
So
no.
yes, look at this nonsense, right? This is the type of nonsense that I'm talking about whenever I'm talking about this conversation, right? Look at this shit. Yeah, as I just cut it off. But yeah, right. Even the idea, the fact that you would go up there and use that as a talking point, right, for a sermon it's crazy, right? And I think again,
I'm gonna throw her some bail because I don't know what the full sermon
hey,
was. So I don't know what it
I hear
was.
you.
But
I hear you, but I disagree with that shit because simply speaking, right? Why are we bringing this conversation into
into the
the
congregation.
congregation? Like
Yeah.
we should have more beneficial conversations than this. There are better ways to talk about manhood and men leading, but that is not the conversation that was had there. But
That is a good point that you brought up. Like there's so much room for growth and room for positive conversations that could have taken place versus talking about 50-50 and being half of a man.
yeah. And really where I think the root issue lies in with that whole 50-50 conversation, it comes back from a bigger issue that I think plays into the gender war, and that's that whole strong, independent black woman narrative. Along with consequently the niggas ain't shit narrative. Them two things are like keeping us in a cycle as a community of finger pointing as you the problem, you the problem, you the problem. When all it's really doing is help push divisive shit like Tyler Perry movies.
I mean, what's the best way to control a group though, bro? Split them from within.
That's true.
All you got to do is separate them. All you got to do is pit them against each other. They'll never come together and be able to accomplish anything if you pin them against each other. How do you do that? At the core of it, you exile the men out of it and you put all the weight on the women. And then you hyper masculine. I can't say the freaking word that I
You want
want
to
to
make
say.
the
You
women
hyper,
masculine.
yeah,
Yeah.
you make that woman hyper masculine to where she has to take on both of the roles. Then she's also bitter at the world. And now you've created this thing where it's an illusion of the black father not being in the household or these other things. They're never going to be able to come together and succeed.
Yeah. Because it's craziness. Like it's continued the narrative that it fosters is I see how it's getting pushed, right? Articles that we see often talk about, and these are factual things, right? I'm not trying to take away from statistics. Black women are the most educated. Black women are the fastest growing group of homeowners and stock owners, right? And the way that conversation is had is not celebrating black women. A lot of times it's brothers, we need to catch up, which again, men should lead. But I just think it's the way the conversations are framed often make it seem like these women who do these things are too good for men who are regular men. They need to have a man who is exceptional. And when I think in the most case, niggas who doing pretty fairly well for themselves could do better with the right partner.
It's definitely, once again, like I said, it's definitely a multiplication factor. I do kind of want to give you a little pushback. I will say, so I do feel like men should lead, but I think that leading comes and goes, right? Like there are some aspects where men should lead. Like my wife, she told me, whenever I'm with you, I feel like I don't have to worry about safety
Turn that
because
brain
I
off,
know
baby girl.
you. She like, I know you got it. She's like, I observe you. You look at everything. You observe situations. You make sure you check. You are aware of the surroundings. So whatever you tell me to do, I'm going to do. And I'm like, cool. But there's also some situations where I'm like, hey, babe, I need you to take the lead of this. I'm not good at this. I think that the leading part, once again, I think it just depends on where's this person more expert at, right? Like, let's say the finances. If you know you're not the person that's good with finances, let whoever is good with finances lead. If you're both not good with finances, figure out how you can become good with finances, right? But there are a lot of situations where we see the women just give the man the money and let him do the finances, but he's not good at it either, and they still end up in a messed up situation.
Vice versa. Yeah, well, one partner's giving the other partner money, assuming that
Yeah.
they know, and neither of them know. Whereas,
Once again, just because the man is the
yeah,
man,
and he
right?
should lead,
What
but I get that.
exactly? Or this is something that he should know. Once again, I this is why I think the gender war shit is stupid. Because once again, there's certain things that each other are going to be good at. Maybe this person wasn't taught that thing, right? You can't just assume, or just because that is what society says a man should do, which goes into a deeper rabbit hole of gender
Masculinity
roles and
and
all of these things. Not yeah, just gender roles and
traditional
everything. Like
masculinity.
yeah, like where people feel like they are certain, and like I'm cool with saying I don't always follow that shit, bro. Like I don't care about a gender role, but there are certain things in my household where me and my woman have established. You don't take care of the trash. I'm
Yeah,
gonna take care of the trash. Let me take care of it, right? Like you're not going outside cutting the grass. I'm gonna go fucking do it. But whatever works for you should just work for you. Like I said at the beginning, whatever works for you should work for you. There are some things that you were saying earlier. You're talking about black women being the highest educated, um,
fastest growing
in
group of investors in real estate and stocks.
yes, sir. But I also kind of want to talk about some of the other sides of that, right? Some of those highest highs also come with some really, I'm not going to say really low lows, but some low lows as well, where at the same time, black women carries the heavy student loan burdens. They have the highest rate of delinquencies
That's not a
and
conversation that's had often.
earn less on average than any other race at all levels of education.
Again, and that kind of talks to how this is the trick play, right? With the whole gender war narrative and
Mhm.
pushing it this way on us.
They're playing you
They're
against each other.
playing you against each other, saying you're too good for these men. You don't need these men. But at the same time, they're paying you less than the same men they're saying you're too good for, even though you're more educated. When it comes to that delinquency rate thing, I just think that goes to the fact that more of them go to college. More black women are prone to go to college. We had a whole conversation
Racking up
about it.
more student loan
Yeah,
debt.
we had a whole conversation about it. Young black men are opting to go into trades. I gave a
Mhm.
personal anecdote. All my younger cousins have gone and decided to go into trades. Every one of them that have graduated high school in the last 2 years have decided I'm
Mhm.
going to do a trade because college doesn't make sense. And there's a shortage of all these things, right? When we start talking gender roles, traditionally speaking, a lot of these jobs that are considered man jobs don't require college, they require trades. And whenever you start shitting on and looking down upon other methods, and they're trying to convince you that you're too good for these type of men, or just a black man who isn't someone who earns six figures out the gate, right? Because a brother that get a trade, well, if he's just getting out of trade school or just getting out of college, he's not at the max of his earning potential. He's just
Yeah,
at the
no, he's
beginning of his
just entering.
career.
Yeah,
But
your entry level.
the trick play is to tell you that if you got something right now, you came out, you got a really good job, you are too good for these people. And it's hurting our ability to multiply in those ways, what you just said, right? Because I think the beauty of it is that gender roles thing, because like I'll do those things too. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll clean the house.
Mhm.
I'll make sure I'll cook. You know, I don't mind those things. I enjoy doing those things, especially if it helps take the load off of my partner. But it's just better to have someone else. Like cleaning your apartment by yourself is butt, man. This shit
It definitely
sucks.
sucks.
Living alone sometimes is inconvenient just because everything moves based on you, and there isn't a way to divvy up the work. And there's a singles tax. Like that's the whole thing, right? Where if you're a couple living together, you might save. I think in Dallas when I did the look into it for a post we were supposed to make, it was like a $17,000 difference a year, like in what your actual cost of living is versus what you earned as a couple. Because like not only does having someone to split expenses with save you money on the rent, like when we talking 50-50, like it's a bad thing, or even if it's again, do what works for you. You pay the rent and she takes care of the other stuff. Like
Hmm.
whatever works for you, that will save both of you money in the long run and allow you to have more money freed up to invest, more money to pay down debt, more money to start building the future that you really want to. But we can't get there if they're continuing to push us in that narrative. To speak to the pay thing, right? In Q1 of 2025, black women earned 73 cents on the dollar compared to white men. Black men earn 76% of what white men earn. And this is stats from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So it's not a huge difference. The 3% difference, 3 cents on the dollar, right? As time has gone on, the gap has gotten smaller between black men and black women. But you know where the gap hasn't gotten smaller? Be-
Talk to
between
him. Tell
black
him.
people and white men. And whenever we so focused on fighting within, we can't focus on who the real enemy and problem is. A lot of the same black women who adhere to this type of mentality, this like, oh, what's the word they have from divester? They've written off black men. They don't want anything to do with black men. And they say things online. And they're like, and some of them, I'm pretty sure these are people's real experiences. I'm not trying to discount anything. They say shit that just in a way that they don't believe black people are for them or they're better than them in some ways. Like they're better than the black men. They call niggas pookies and think everybody got a baby mama. And like, you know what I'm saying? They're just those generalizations and adhering to respectability politics. I think that's the part of this that a lot of us miss is that we play into the trick bag that they're giving us.
So I'm gonna pause you right there. I can't put all the onus on the women. Building wealth is about more than just the money you make. It's about what you leave behind. At Black Wealth Renaissance, we believe in creating lasting legacies for the ones we love. But have you thought about what will happen to your family when you're no longer here? Life insurance isn't just about protection. It's a way to ensure your hard work today keeps working for your family tomorrow. It's your opportunity to leave a legacy that will support their family. Take the next step today. Protect your family, secure their future, and build a legacy you can be proud of. Click the link below to get started today. Because there's black men on the internet, these incels that are
Oh
doing the
yeah, I
same
hate them
exact
niggas.
thing
Them
to,
red pill
they're doing
niggas,
the same exact thing to the
fresh
women.
and fit
They're
niggas.
calling these women shaquikas. They're doing all of these the same bullshit. So once again, I don't want to focus on the two separate parties of what they doing. It's what was done to us, brother.
Facts.
It's what created all of this, right? And at the beginning, you said, "Oh, this is a social media gender war." This shit ain't social media,
It has
nigga.
real life consequences.
This shit was socially engineered back in the 60s, in the 40s, nigga. This is social engineering, not social media. They over here, they came and they broke up our families. We talked about what the black wealth and black households look like before everything happened, before the crack era, before they were incentivizing our women to live without the men so we can get help through welfare,
Yeah.
or so you can get all these government assistances. Or once again, once the crack era came through, all the men, they became drug dealers, started hitting the blocks, left fatherless homes, left these kids who came out who were moms had needles in their arms. They were crackheads, right? Let's go back further than that. Let's go to Jim Crow. Let's go to all of these other things where you try to emasculate the black man. You try to do all of these things. Right now, social media is just seeing the compound effect of that social engineering to break up the black people.
That's well put, my brother. I can't even give no pushback to that because that is factual. I definitely agree that it is on both sides of the fence. And the true point is we do need to focus on the real enemy. So what is the real enemy, right? The real enemy is the system that is keeping us in the lower economic caste. It's crazy to think, right? But who you think have the most student loan debt? No, no, just in general, like out of everybody,
Oh,
black
black
people.
people in general. Yeah, black people in general. We were sold the dream. But also it just wasn't that we were sold the dream. We couldn't afford to go to school at the same rate that white people could afford to go to school because guess what? They had 521 plans. They had people who had wealth that they can tap into from their homes. We didn't because of redlining. Once again, social engineering, all of these aspects that were put against us to keep us within this. All you're seeing is the side effects of all of these things. So yeah, we gonna be the people with the highest debt and everything because we were never really meant to be in that position to go to that school. But once again, they sold us a dream. They needed people to have these educations. They needed this for the working force that was happening.
And a lot of us went to school without the blueprint at first. A lot of people
Facts.
did their first time college graduates in their thing
I was
in
about to
their
say
family.
me and
Yeah,
you.
me and you, first time college graduates. And a lot of times without the proper mentorship, people don't necessarily go down the route that would be the
Once
most
again,
beneficial. And we've talked
I
about our
still
experiences.
have.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say as regrets, but I still wish that there's certain things that I capitalized on inside of school,
Yeah.
for
But
sure.
you mentioned something about school that before we move further, I do want to talk about it just real quick. The 529 plans, anybody that's unfamiliar with it, if you're in a financial position to do so, it's a great tool to invest in education for not just your kid, but for the family. Honestly, that
Mhm.
because that's really how it ends up working for most of them. You can contribute X amount of dollars to it pre-tax. The money's
And if
able,
that one student doesn't go, you can roll it over to another student in the
and you can
family, correct?
invest the money that's in the account so it grows
And it doesn't just have to be like a kid. It could be
K
like
through
a
12.
relative. Like, no, I'm saying like it doesn't just have to be your kid. It could be like your niece or nephew that you
Yeah.
can give that
Yeah,
to,
it
right?
like if
Yes.
somebody like Jalen was saying, if somebody doesn't go to school, like you
Like let's say you got two kids, your kids opt to go to trade school, or they just don't go to school. You got a little niece that's coming up. You can gift her the 521
and it can
plan,
just roll over through the family like that 529 plan.
529 plan. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
but I digress. I just wanted to get that little nugget tidbit to anybody that has kids. Great tool to use and leverage.
Last part you was talking about was just the student loan. Sorry, I keep on
It's
amped
okay,
up
but
about
no,
this
with student loans,
conversation.
this was something interesting. So in 2019, the Institute on Assets and Social Policy found
Hmm.
that the average black borrower still owed 95% of the original loan amount after 2 decades, compared to white borrowers who, on average, paid off their loans in the same time period. Now,
Okay.
let's talk about that correlation, right? Because
Does that just mean that we're not paying back, or
we have more debt and a lot of us ain't paying back because a lot of people make minimum payments. And with
Mhm.
student loans, minimum payments is not going to lower your balance.
actually just paying
You're
to
just
interest?
paying interest. You'll pay interest for 20 years like them and still owe
Hmm.
95% of the original loan balance because your minimum payment, they want to keep you perpetually in debt. And
Mm.
it's not saying that college is not a useful resource. We've said that plenty of times on here. Great tool to educate and level yourself up. Uh, but whenever we're doing it the way we're going about it, it creates the situation that we currently are in, and it exacerbates it. Let me say it like this: it's not going to make it better because in order to build the wealth, you're securing heavy burdens of debt. And some people, often the most economically disadvantaged people, go into college like the meal ticket and end up getting a degree that doesn't really serve their best interest. And they have to take a lot of loans out to get through school. And I know a lot of people that personally that kind of had to go through that. And they're saddled with a lot of student loan debt and working jobs that make like 40, 50 in a year.
Yeah, because niggas wanted to become a social worker. Niggas wanted to become a social worker.
But that was the environment that they grew up in. They wanted to change it. It's
Exactly.
usually
Hey
it
man.
usually starts that way, and it sucks, but it goes back to that mindset and environment thing, man. Like the environment you're in kind of helps foster what you think you should be
Hmm.
doing. And if you come from a fucked up place and you think the world needs to change, you're gonna do what you think is the right thing, which realistically, it's I was listening to John Holmes Bryant's podcast. He said something to a young African dude who he was interviewing. He just built like a unicorn tech company called Isusu.
Like the Susu
Yeah,
Circle?
like Isusu, but yeah, it helps like track credit and stuff like that. It was pretty dope. But he said he told him like, how can you help poor people if you're one of them? He told him it's like when he was young, you can do a lot more help
Damn.
for poor people if you went ahead and got some money. And
But you want me to tell you? You want me to tell you what's the fucked up part of that?
was that
The poor people gonna look at you as the enemy or the dinner.
yeah. Unfortunately, that's the crazy part because the poor people think to be wealthy you have to be some type of deviant or some type of kind of grimy nigga a lot of the times because those limiting beliefs a lot of the time, and that's just not the case. You can do more good for poor people if you got bread, but
If you got bread and a good
and
heart,
a good
I'll
heart.
say that.
It's true. You gotta have a good heart.
I'll say that. So yeah, back to the topic.
So, right, black families on average have 23 cents for every dollar of wealth white families have. It's like 23% of white wealth black people have. Okay, roughly.
Once again, divide, conquer, keep us at the bottom.
And one of the big statistics that clearly reflect why we're there is the marriage rates. So the black Americans have the lowest marriage rate out of any ethnicity in America.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I will say this. Does this also go back to the Ruta thing? Because slaves weren't able to marry.
We're talking about recent data, Jalen.
Okay,
I'm just
asking.
talking about recent data. Like
Okay.
we talking as a 2022, 2023 type shit.
Gotcha.
So recent data. Black Americans, 33% marriage rate. White Americans, around 50%. Hispanic Americans, around 45. Asian Americans, 60%. Who has the highest income?
I was just about to say now how does that relate to wealth and income?
Who has the highest income by ethnicity?
Asians? Really?
Asians out earn white Americans on average. Indians do as
Shout
well.
out to y'all.
They have higher marriage rates and they also outperform. So it's like we get a lot of times we're so caught up in the conversations on social media and getting caught up in the social engineering, like Jalen just brought up, right? That has been put into our community that we lose.
Man, I wish we had a woman right now. I ain't gonna
We
lie.
do need to have a woman on here. We lose sight of the ball because we do need a woman's perspective on this conversation. But we lose sight of the ball, right? If the ball and goal is to build wealth, to build legacy, to have something special, why are we spending so much time on these low level and low value conversations that don't really fit the framework of America? Because we're aware the average black man makes 40, 50K.
Average American make 40, 50K. Nigga.
Well, then that means if the average American makes the average American
40,
make like 65.
60.
Yeah, it's like 65. So I'm saying like 40, 50K black man, because they always gonna do us a little dirt, dog. It just is what it is. So if we earning 40, 50, that means on average, the average black woman is 35 to 45, right? Somewhere in that range.
Maybe a little
bit more.
Once again, they're 3%.
What I did learn while researching for the pod is that the number for black women earning less than white men is skewed heavily by the older income groups. Gen Z and the kids after them, they ain't going for that shit. They've actually been like pretty close to, I think like they're both it's like 91% or some shit like that.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, that was an interesting trend to note.
For black and white women, it's 91% to their male counterpart.
Yeah, for like the Gen Zs.
Hey, I fuck with Gen Z. I don't care what
Yeah,
nobody say about
like
them.
it was higher.
I fuck with
It
them.
was way higher than you know what I'm saying? Like this whole I can do bad by myself mentality is keeping us doing bad. Like even if it's a situation where you maybe leave with some assets, that's better than nothing. I was hearing a brother talk about this the other day. Whenever we went ride, he was like, "Yeah, me and my girl, we thinking about getting a house, and they not married yet, but they thinking about getting a house." And I don't think that people will say, that's not the way to do it, and I could understand that. But if you're living together in an apartment, you might as well live together in a house. And if y'all do decide to break up and sell the house,
hey, if it appreciated, make some money.
some money together. That's a lot better than leaving leaving with empty pockets
Fact.
and hate in your heart. You shouldn't hate your exes though.
I think you should be cool.
Nah, I don't think your wife agrees to that. But speaking of wives, one thing that is really integral and really important to note is for black couples, right? So black married couples median net worth is 131,000, while the average net worth for a single black person is 29,000. So we'll be looking at that a little over 4x, four times as wealthy, just by that multiplication factor that Jalen said. Is really almost an exponential factor.
But I ain't gonna lie to you. And once again, the thing that I think that comes with it, because I was actually talking to a dude in the gym today. I think it's the responsibility that comes with being married, bro. Whenever you're married, especially once you start to have kids and everything, it's like, yo, we gotta provide for these love suckers. What we gonna do? We gonna stay at this level? We gonna BS or we gonna grow together? Something that the guy at the gym told me, because I was telling him, about me expecting the kid and getting ready to, like, everything's just right around the corner. It's like, man, I fuck with you, man. You got some people to take care of. I fuck with people who got people to take care of. Cause your responsibility, your mindset is different. I was like, damn, you're right. You're right, nigga.
That's why I was saying I was proud of you earlier, bro, because that's manhood steps, man. And if I'm being transparent with the people on the
Thank you,
pod, you
man.
know what I'm saying? Like, I'm single, talking to somebody, but not really interested in pursuing long term. And there's times where it's like, damn, bro, you bullshitting. You know what I'm saying?
You are. I'm gonna tell you on the pod right now. You bullshit. As a nigga that was once in your shoe.
Like, you bullshitting. Like, you know you're bullshitting, and it's probably not helping on your long term journey.
I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not. It's not.
It's real.
Life does get easier once you just be like, especially if it's like the right person.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, it's like being transparent about it. I look at it and I see how it could be easily this way. Like, the right partner definitely can't elevate you. The wrong partner can destroy your ass, though.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
That's also the flip side of it, the reversal, as they say in what book that is, 48 Laws of Power. But I do think that that's just like something that, as a community, for me, I'm like, okay, I gotta lock in, bro. I gotta be more intentional about this because I know I want to marry a black woman.
I ain't gonna lie to you, brother. 2 people ask me, because whenever they hit me up, they be like, yeah, what's David up to? Is he getting married soon?
God dang, man.
It was Brother Dre and it was Maria.
God dang, man. You know what I'm saying? Everybody trying to marry me off right now. I'm like, I get it, bro. Maybe it's God trying to tell me, hey, brother, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're BSing right now. She out there for you. You're not really open.
What I do think was interesting though, and I think this Zay might have brought this up on his pod, or was some content that I saw floating around. They're like, people that do business, they're more
was Zay.
susceptible to do business with people who are married, people who are committed, right? Because if you're committed to that your wife, then you're also going to be committed to your business. You're going to be committed to these other things. Once again, because you have this responsibility to take care of. You have all of these things dependent on you and your success and your achievement.
Mm-hmm. You got something to come home for every night. Mm-hmm. That's understandable. That make a lot of sense. And yeah, I
got a real quick tangent to go off of that made me think of this. So I saw another clip come up. It was like, this is why rich people play golf. And I think it might have been Joe Rogan talking about this. He was like, the reason rich people play golf is for two or three things. One, they want to see how you react in adversity, times of adversity, because like golf isn't an easy game. 2, they want to see how competitive you are, once again playing against with them or whatever. And then 3, they can use it to tell like metrics of your honesty or whatever. And he gave this story of like this one guy he knew. He took his wife with him to go golfing with this guy, and the wife noticed that the guy that he was golfing with cheated. And the wife was like, baby, I don't think you should do business with him. He cheated just now. Like, sure enough, like, a few months down the line, this guy was in all kind of like criminal charges. FBI ended up like raiding him and stuff. Like crazy shit.
A woman's intuition. You should have listened.
Exactly. And that's That's another thing, brother. I ain't gonna lie to you. Having a woman by your side is a blessing, man. It's some things women do. Like you just like, I can't do this as a man. And I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it out my mouth. I needed you for that, baby. I needed that. Cause I'm not good at this
I
shit.
ain't gonna lie. You know what mine is? Sending that food back at restaurants. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
I ain't gonna lie. My food not what I want. Yeah, I'll send my shit
Nah,
back.
I'm talking about like for little shit. Like
No, I'm not doing that. Little shit, I'm gonna just suck it up. It
I
wasn't that.
ordered macaroni and they gave me mashed
Or if they
potatoes.
if
I'm like, all
they
right, bro, I'm
if
gonna
they
just eat the
tell me,
mashed potatoes. It's
no,
cool.
if they ask me, is everything okay? I will make mention and be like, this kind of not what I wanted, but I'll eat it. Like you ain't gotta send it back on that. I'm gonna eat it. Type shit. But I'm gonna let you know it wasn't.
Yeah.
Unless it was something like specialty that I had to order and it was like more money. Like as soon as you bring it up, oh, this isn't what I ordered. That type shit. Yeah.
I guess
But yeah, you got it. You got anything else you wanted to talk about on this gender war shit?
man, I guess just really to pin it up, division keeps us broke. Generational wealth requires alignment, transparency, and a shared vision for a relationship. Addressing financial trauma and that mistrust that the systems created is in the gender dynamics in the black community. That's really going to be what's needed to get over this hump. And me as a black man, I'm doing my best. I know at one point I fell into the incel content. I caught myself watching these niggas. I said, wait a minute. Not like the fresh and fit niggas, but the niggas that's like Jordan Peterson owns liberal woman or those type of shits. And I'm like, look at it like
Don't tell me you was over there watching. Yeah,
no, not like
yeah.
that, but like you know how some people have those really progressive ideas. I'm conservative politically, mentally, something like I'm very not much a bigot, but
Mhm.
I don't agree fundamentally with a lot of the way these niggas think. Like when fat shaming became a thing. Like you shouldn't fat shame. I'm a big person. If you want to be fat and a nigga call you fat and you ashamed, that's your problem, not theirs.
I'm with you
It's a
on that
lot of
part.
mental gymnastics, is what I'm saying. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And I don't like the mental gymnastics. I like the straight to the point shit. But I noticed that when I started watching shit like that, that's when they started showing me them other niggas. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm doing something wrong. Why are you two recommending me to watch this shit? I gotta go to the other
That's
side of the
hilarious.
pendulum, bro. I started reading Bell Hooks.
What is that?
Bell Hooks is a very notable leftist writer, leftist author. Wrote a lot of books on what's been coined as the white supremacist patriarchal.
Oh, I think I know what book it is. It's a lot of the same book. A lot of these fucking terrorists be reading before they go fucking shoot up crowds and shit, right?
No, you talking about Karl Marx.
Oh,
Two different
okay.
people.
I'm about to say this nigga David was getting
Nah,
radicalized.
You talking about Marxism. No, the white supremacist patriarchal power structure.
Still sound like some
Yeah.
radicalization
Other
shit, man.
side. I went all the way to the other side of the pendulum just to balance my
When
shit
was
out.
this, nigga?
I say sometime in like 2023, late 2023.
Let's think about it. Did I notice this shift in you?
No,
I
probably
don't know.
not. Probably not. I mean, I'm talking about like my free time content. Cause
I
most
got
of the
you.
content I consume is still related to business news. I'm just interested in things that are actually going on in the world. But I still like entertainment. You know, I watch anime, read manga. Sometimes I watch dumb YouTube videos about random topics.
Same. I like watching fishing videos
I be
too.
watching history videos, random
I
shit.
like that too. I
Those
like the
random
history
shit.
video. Oh, I follow this engineering channel. That's some random shit, but it just be teaching you like all kinds of random weird engineering shit.
Hey man,
I don't know what
I'm
the
with
fuck
it.
it is.
Anything that expands the mind, I think, is beneficial. Whenever you get into brain rot and sitting there scrolling through AI slop, yeah, you need to get off the internet. Or whenever you end
Yeah,
up in them
man.
incel corners, you red pill, get off the internet. If you too far left, get off the internet. You got to stay grounded in what's really going on in the real world, because the way people talk on the net is not how they act in real life. I say that's the truth for at least 80% of people.
When most people think of life insurance, they think of death benefits. But did you know life insurance can also help you build wealth while you're still alive? With cash value policies, Like whole life or universal life insurance, you're not just leaving a legacy, you're building one. These policies grow over time with tax-deferred cash that you can access for things like retirement, emergencies, or even investments. Plus, living benefits can protect you during life's most unexpected moments, like critical illness or disability, giving you the financial flexibility you need when you need it most. It's not just insurance. It's a tool in your financial tool belt. Visit the link below to learn more and start building wealth today. So I do want to push this forward though, brother. I want to get to the next topic. Before we get to the next big topic, I don't know if you saw this story today though. FICO announced that buy now, pay later loans will start to affect borrowers' credit score.
I told you that. I told you that was coming, and you were like, no, it's already doing it. I was like, no, it's not doing it. And it's coming. It's coming down the pipeline. We were talking about buy now, pay never. That is one of the issues right there. People thought this shit wouldn't be on their credit for real. Now it's gonna be reporting late because they got all these fucking losses. Don't use that shit. That's all I gotta say on it.
So I'm gonna read this article from Axos. FICO credit scores will now begin incorporating buy now, pay later data for the first time. Why it matters? With over 90 million Americans expected to use buy now, pay later for purchases this year, critics argue that existing credit scores paint an incomplete picture of an individual's ability to pay back loans.
Facts.
So Fair Isaac Corporation that runs FICO said Monday that they will launch 2 separate credit scores, including buy now, pay later. For those that don't know, FICO has many different models. So the 2 new credit scores that I'll be launching is FICO Score 10, buy now, pay later, and FICO Score 10T, buy now, pay later. They will represent a significant investment in credit scoring, accounting for growing importance of buy now, pay later loans in the U.S. credit ecosystem. The company said in a statement, these scores provide lenders with greater visibility into consumers' repayment behaviors, enabling a more comprehensive view of their credit readiness, which ultimately improves the lending experience.
You know what I just heard? You niggas who was on TikTok talking about I'm gonna get this money and not pay for it. You cooked, bitch. They're gonna cut your line. They're gonna cut your water off now. They're making a score so they can cut you off, bitch. They wasn't keeping good enough track of your dumb ass. Now you went on the net, you was talking that dumb shit. Ha, you boo boo, nigga, you ain't getting that money. Ha, we ran off on Klarna. Klarna getting it back in blood now. I ain't mad at it.
Hilarious.
I ain't mad at it. I think it's very important and should be accounted for because people have been abusing it. This shit like reverse layaway. It's like the worst invention ever.
It is layaway.
It's reverse layaway. With layaway,
But you get the product.
last.
You had to wait till the product. Yeah.
You get the product first, and mentally, them dopamine receptors been gone, and you done with this shit. You probably don't even fuck with the shit by the time the last payment came out.
Why that shit in the trash? Somebody dog chewing on that shit, man.
Bro, I'm so glad that they didn't drop this shit earlier, like in the early 2000s. Man, imagine if this
buy
was
now, pay later, or just
buy
like,
now, pay later before the financial crisis.
Because I definitely remember my mama had
Layaway like a mug. If you told my mom
lot.
she could have got the product first and just paid for it after,
it's like the crack epidemic
all over again, bro. They just dropped that shit on, but they dropped that shit on America. Like, realistically, it should be a beneficial tool. But the fact of the matter is, the most people who are going to use this are people who are over leveraged already. And when them payments come out and your math wasn't mathing because you was doing bank account accounting and you ain't got no goddamn chart or nothing when your payments coming out, when that rug get pulled or when that tide pulled back, they're going to see that you're naked under there.
So I do want to know how many people are going to use this new model. Once again, FICO has many models. Some of these models are only used for specific things like purchasing a home, purchasing a car. There are certain models that they use. So I do want to know how many lenders are actually going to start using this. I wonder if this will be primarily for buy now, pay later people who are like issuing out these loans, or if this is going to be maybe if it's going to impact whenever you're going to be getting a new apartment or any of those type of things. Because just because they release a new score doesn't mean that the lender is actually going to use the new
Well,
score.
I just think that this is just a soft launch, personally. I think the ultimate goal is to factor it in ultimately as a part of your credit scoring. Like
Mm.
this is gonna go
Like a
this is gonna
overall,
go on
like
your
an
ledger
overall.
like every other debt. Every other debt that you accrue is gonna be on there. They treat it like a revolving credit limit. Because I seen somebody say it whenever they seen it. They were like, "Oh, that just mean my limit gonna go up because I make my payments on time." And there are people who make their payments on time. I'm not talking to you. If you want to do that, that's your thing. People argue, especially like people who get paid once a month who do a good job of budgeting and rationing their money.
Mhm. So what you're saying is you're thinking that this is going to be, like you said, it's going to be one of the, instead of it being 5 points of what they're grading you with on your credit, it'll become the
No,
six.
not like that. Not like the six. Just whenever we start talking about your debts, how that
Hmm.
is not counted in your revolving credit limit, that's gonna start being counted. They're either gonna treat it like
Gotcha.
revolving credit or installment loans. They're probably gonna do installment loans,
I was about to say I can see installment loans because of how they broke it
but
down with
that's
it
what I'm
being
saying. It kind of
buy now, pay
it's
later.
interesting because they give them a limit. So technically, that could be revolving credit with set payments. But ultimately, what I think this is just a soft launch to get this as a part of the official credit scoring system. And
Hmm.
eventually, buy now, pay later loans will be treated just like every other debt in America. And it will be reportable to a degree. And if you don't make your payments, you will have to face the negative benefits from it. That's what I foresee happening.
I can't argue with you on that one, man. I can't argue with you on that one. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that
Yeah.
up.
So other
That
other
was
thing
breaking
in the
news for
news,
today.
breaking news, that I wanted to talk about was they boycotting McDonald's. Mickey D's, we not loving
What?
it. We not
Shit.
loving it, Mickey D's. They are calling for a boycott of McDonald's. So I will also share something.
Who boycott
So
McDonald's,
let me
man?
let you know. Let me
What McDonald's did, man?
so boycotts are facing McDonald's across the country. Over 40 former franchisees from more than a dozen states have voiced their support for a nationwide boycott of the fast food chain. The group is currently suing the company over alleged discriminatory practices going back as far as the 80s. Uh, so this is actually being led by the People's Union. And the purpose of this is because of McDonald's decision to scale back their DEI investments. This is part of the backlash, similar to what's happened with Target. This group, the People's Union, they have targeted Walmart and Amazon as well and led successful boycotts there. And now with that vote of confidence from former franchisees, it's looking like it might be a really sucky summer for McDonald's. They might have to fix that ice cream machine to get some people back in there.
Hey, my nigga, I just gotta say, you gotta eat your words, bro. Black people low key been stepping
Hey,
with they boycotts.
hey, I eat my words with the. I still feel like okay with the Target joint, bro. Again, Target's performance was falling before this shit. I understand. I understand. Yes, it's a factor. It contributes. I will eat my words on that part. Factually speaking, Target's decline started in Q4 of 2024, prior to all of this. Now, McDonald's, you got me. You got me. I'm sorry. I was unfamiliar with your game. My thing, half these places that y'all talking about boycotting, I guess I'm a unwilling participant because I don't buy shit from them anyway. I mean,
Facts.
the last time I bought McDonald's probably was sometime drunk earlier this year getting some fries. I don't need to go to a fucking McDonald's.
Well, being the fact that I have a kid and he like nuggets and stuff,
Man, don't
but I'm
give
just like all
Maverick
the
them
time.
nuggets. We boycotting McDonald's.
His mama started him,
No McNuggets for Mav. We going.
but he actually don't like McDonald's.
That's what's up. That's good. He probably like
So
real chicken.
that's what I said too. I was like, yeah, good job, son.
He said
A real nigga.
that don't taste like chicken. I done had that before.
Facts.
But yeah, this McDonald's boycott. You're right, Jalen. I I I gotta eat my words on that. Hey, look, they stepping. I respect it. I said I'm an unwilling participant because I basically won't be supporting these places anyway. But I love the fact that people are organizing economically to stop spending our money with companies that have willingly and openly stated that they're going to scale back investing in black communities specifically. Because a lot of these companies that had DEI programs, unlike legislation from the United States, they made a lot of DEI programs specifically for black people. And if you're saying, hey, we're gonna scale back these programs for black people gonna scale back the money they're gonna give you. I respect it. I love that we standing on business in that way. We know we're not a monolith. There's gonna still be some people that not gonna stick with it, but I love to hear it, man. Let's hope we see some change from Mickey D's. I'm still not gonna eat there though.
You ain't busting up the Mickey D's, man.
Nah, man, I'm good. I'm good. Just like I don't shop at Target. I've never been a Target shopper.
I don't see what the hype is either, bro. It's some things I'll go just because I know I can get it from there, but I don't buy into the hype, bro.
Target is like a last
It
option.
smell better than
It
Walmart.
do.
I'll tell
I'll
you
tell you
that.
one thing.
It smell
The
better.
people in Target are nicer than the people in Walmart. I will say that.
It's much more pleasant as well. I'll
They're
say that
nicer,
too.
but
I ain't gonna lie to you. I worked for Walmart, but I was like, why y'all doing this to Target versus Walmart, nigga?
oh, you talking about like why people targeting Target versus Walmart? That's true. That's very true. But nah, I think they will opt for cheaper because the Walmart customer goes to Walmart for savings. People that go to
Yeah,
Target for the
I was about to say,
experience.
and that's the difference as well. Is during times of contraction, Walmart gets better because they got better.
Mm-hmm. And that's actually probably again macroeconomic shit that's playing into Target's decline in performance. They also got caught locking with a lot of bad stock during the holiday season. They had a lot of shit that they really didn't need. But again, shout out
Poor
to
Target.
Boycott. Y'all, we not buying no McDonald's this summer. We working on our bodies anyway and working on eating better. So it all works out.
Hell yeah. So you want to get into the next big topic, dog?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can roll right into the next one. So, next big topic, man. You want to intro it or should I, man?
You can intro it.
All right, dog. So, as we all know, times have been very tumultuous over the last few weeks of the year. There have been multiple global geopolitical conflicts. The ongoing Russia-Ukraine war that's been going on since like 2022. Israel and Iran recently been going back and forth, shooting missiles at each other. They were supposed to have a ceasefire. They said, fuck the ceasefire. They still shooting missiles at each other. Trump on the news cussing and shit. We got
I ain't gonna lie. Trump sound like he just frustrated with both of them niggas.
and then to boot, right? To boot all that, we still got this whole trade war going on, right? Where the United States
Exactly.
has waged trade war against the rest of the world, and all these things have just been put on pause. It's not like we've actually resolved this, so it's a lot of uncertainty on the global scale, and it really made us ask, "Yo, is World War III loading? Like, are we on the load screen for World War
I mean,
III?"
that's what everybody on the internet is already saying.
People saying it,
World
but
War
do you
III
really
on.
think we are on the brink of the next world war?
Yes.
What makes you think that?
Few factors. One, just time. Almost 100 years since the First World War. Since then, since World War II, it's 80 years. Since then, we haven't had really any huge fallouts like that.
Cold War,
As we
but yeah.
as we always speak about it, like empires and dynasties and everything, like they last about 200 to 300 years, bro. Uh, which I will say, America hasn't been the superpower for 200 years, but we've been in the spotlight for the last 100 to 80 years for
Like
sure.
100
We've
since
been,
the creation of the Federal Reserve and
yeah.
being the reserve currency.
So
A little over 100
we've
years.
definitely, yeah, like 100 years, right? Once again, maybe we might be able to squeeze this out for another 100 years, depends on how shit goes. But I definitely think one, it's coming to a point where it's starting to be a changing of a guard. Uh, China, I feel like, is very antsy to become that dominant power in the world. Just from their rhetoric and the way that they're speaking, some of the narratives that they're pushing, the way that they're positioning themselves. Two, another thing that makes me think that is, once again, history not always repeating itself, but rhyming the way that these other previous world wars were started. Uh, just the conflict, one between Russia and Ukraine right now, that still hasn't been resolved. That's still going on. Then you have this conflict now with Israel and Iran, where you still have Russia, who is an ally of Iran, the US, who is an ally of Israel, but then you also have China, who is an ally, or not even, well, they
Yeah,
are an
and
ally
BRICS
of Iran.
and
Because
China
with
and
Iran,
Russia.
yeah, and Russia. So with Iran, something that China and Iran actually have done, I don't know if you know this, I think it was in 2020 or 2021, they signed a 25-year economic pact for planning out the future of their countries together, and they started actually conducting military exercises together.
I
Yeah,
wasn't not aware of
so
that. Yeah.
so yeah, they conduct military exercises together. Once again, probably a lot of the countries in BRICS probably do already or have started implementing those type of things. I know for sure China and Iran do. I don't know about the rest of the countries, but all of those factors is what just makes me see it whenever I just zoom out, right? Because the other thing that makes me think about this from a history side and economical side, who's controlling the oil right now, right? We are. We can say it. Look, we got the petrodollar,
Mm-hmm.
U.S. currency petrodollar. Although Iran produces the oil
It's still
and
traded
all of
on
they
that
say, yeah,
petrodollar.
yes, it's all traded on the petrodollar. We're controlling the oil right now, right? So if something's going to change, it's going to come down to that.
Who controls the oil?
Yes,
I could see that. I could definitely see that because it's always been
and
about
this like
oil. This whole Middle Eastern campaign since what the 80s have been about oil. Everything's been
yeah.
about oil for this whole time, and that makes very good sense. And I can't say I disagree with you for the reasons why I do believe, because I do believe also we're on the brink of a major global conflict. Just because those factors you just shared, right? This whole conflict in Israel and Iran and the United States poking its nose in it, the history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes, like you were saying earlier. And whenever we start looking back at those two prior world wars, very similar implications. You know, we sticking our
But
nose in other people's business, people getting assassinated. There's land, people trying to take over lands and annex lands and countries that are allies of other countries. So the United States starts off just funding and selling
supplying the
weapons.
weapons.
The U.S. war
That's
machine.
literally that's how we were dragged into World War One and into World War Two.
We selling weapons,
Same exact way, both times.
and this time we're sending weapons, sending missiles. We've been sending money and funding and weapons to Ukraine for the last 3 years. We're in a cycle of gearing up for a global conflict. And I think it's interesting and it's important that we talk about this because not because of a war, like what do we think would happen in a world war, but really more so from the economic implications of war, right? What
Hmm.
happens during war? Because we never had to live through a real deal war, right? What did America do during World War One and World War Two? What would they be able to do in the likelihood of World War Three? So, big elephant in the room to address is the big difference between those two prior wars and this would be America's industrial capabilities. We were an industrial powerhouse in the early 1900s, and in the early 1900s, and somewhere in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, we shipped off all of our production internally and switched over to a service-based economy. So, with that being said, yes, the United States still does produce certain things, but we don't produce nearly as much, and we don't have the capability and facilities to produce these things. So, in the instance of a war, what would the United States need? Because I believe it was during World War One, prior to the World War One, is when the Fed was created. And that's where the United States started this whole, printing money out of nowhere shit. And we started printing this money. And the first check I think they wrote was So it's a very interesting essay. I believe it's an essay or it may even be a book, but it's called The Creature from Jekyll Island. It was talking about this, how the first check that the Fed wrote, because the Fed was not a organization prior to 1913. This was something that was created in reaction to economic panics in 1907, and I think there was a couple years prior. So they had
Mhm.
some bank runs, some banks failed. This was meant to be a safeguard against this. Prior to the creation of the Fed, every dollar was a one-to-one thing. Like they had something backing the dollar, there was an asset that backed that dollar. Gold, whatever asset that be, right? When the Fed came into play, they was like, "Oh, we ain't got the bread for it. Here's a check. Go do what you need to do." And we've been doing that shit forever. And that's why we now a huge deficit country. And we're in a situation now where it would be very difficult for us to mobilize in a way to get a bunch of people ready for war. Don't you agree?
I don't think so. Whenever, well, on a production side of things, but we know our country spends the most on military,
We
so
got we
I
got
think
some guns. I'm sure we got some shit.
like we got guns and personnel for sure. I don't think that part will be the hard part. But like you said, the manufacturing part of everything, I think that would be the biggest part. But I also feel like that plays into our involvement in the prior two world wars, right? The one of the reasons why the Allies and the Axis won is because once again they had an industrial powerhouse on their side, whereas whenever shit was getting rough, we could just crank up production in America. It might take a little while, but once we get all the goods and everything to the battlefield, that's what turned the war, and that's what changed things. Is the technology and everything. That is what I would say is the difference, and kind of like the sick twisted silver lining is war is the technology that is generated from war, the things that happen, the revolutionizing of like just technology and period in general, like the way the advancement in aircraft, the advancement in boats, the advancement in all of these things that happened because it was a necessity of war. Some of those things, some of the greatest adventures are spawned because it was a necessity to war.
That's very
Is
true.
what I would say.
War sparks innovation because it leads to really it's because it's
Because it's a
investment.
necessity.
It's investment.
It's an investment, but it's also a necessity. This is something we spoke about on the podcast years ago, right? Whenever you don't have something, what is the next thing to do? Create it. You have everything you need here. Sometimes you might not have it, but you can create it. And that's where that innovation comes from whenever it's war, right? How can I get that edge? That's how the nuclear bomb was created. I needed some type of edge on this other country.
We should have did that shit still.
We should have never did
That-
that.
yeah.
I will agree with
That's
that.
why we got problems now.
Yeah, we should have never did that shit.
um
But anyways, so whenever you ask if there's going to be an issue with us mobilizing people and everything, no, but I also do feel like this war is going to look, if it is a World War III, it's going to look a lot different.
100%.
One of the first things that I thought about whenever the news was announced that Trump bombed Iran, I was like, damn, man. Like, I immediately thought about my family. What can I do? How can I prepare us? What is our plan? I was kind of nervous, kind of like up in arms, preparation. As I settled down, I was like, damn, are them niggas really going to attack us? Or will this war mainly be fought in the Middle East if this is a world war? Because the past two world wars were fought mainly in Europe, between Germany, Russia, and Austria, and all of these things, right? That was the battlefield of the previous two world wars. And what I'm seeing them setting the stage now is, which I'm not sure on a geographical map how far Ukraine is from the Middle East, but whenever I really started to internalize, I was like, damn, that'll probably be the battlefield, which my heart hurts for the people that live in that area because they've been dealing with this their whole life. We're talking with Frankie and Reggie, and Frankie was like, yeah, I was actually deployed to Iraq and I had bombs dropped on me. And I was like, man, that's the most terrifying shit ever to me. Like whenever I watch the videos that I've seen people post over the past week and a half with the conflict that's happening between Israel and Iran, I'm terrified. I'm like, nigga, you chilling in your house and some shit just dropping, nigga?
Ground shaking, earth quaking.
Like, can you really internalize this, nigga?
I
Bro,
ain't
like
gonna.
people have been living like this for years, like decades, though. Like a lot of these people, they're in such a high conflict area. They're used to this.
It's a truly a war zone. You know how people often say the hood is a war zone. No, this is truly a war zone. Whereas like
Like that fucks me
yeah,
up.
it's atrocious, honestly. It's truly atrocious. Um that that people have to live that way. And realistically, that is where the battlefield would be, like you're saying, in that area where the conflict initially started. And again, this war will be very different. I definitely already see it with the way conflict is had now. It's less boots on the ground than the last two prior conflicts, and more about cybersecurity and defense, like bombs, drones.
Mhm.
These are gonna be the things that, and the skills that I think are gonna be what will be invested in by the government. Because anytime that something like that happens, they invest in getting people up to speed in these things that they need, right? You spoke about innovation. Outside of innovators, sometimes we just need bodies, man. You need to get some
Mhm.
niggas out there, man. And they gonna sink or swim, fold to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you gonna do? I think about it whenever we talk about deployment with Justin, right? They're gonna give you some on-the-job training. They're gonna get you
Mhm.
in the environment, but a lot of this is gonna be learning as you go.
Yeah. The good thing about the army is you have basic training. That's the good thing about that. You have basic training.
Do you think the requirements and time frame of that would change in the midst of a global conflict?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
The shortening of it just depends on how bad things are and how much is needed. But
Yeah.
I definitely think this war is not going to be fought the same way wars were fought in the past, like trench
No, and
warfare and all that
I
type of
think
stuff
every war is different. Every war definitely modifies. Once again, World War II, a lot of that war
in the
was
air.
Navy war,
Eh,
air and Navy, right? Like a lot of that was fought at sea, a lot of those things. And from what I'm seeing is this would be, like you said, more missiles, more bombs, and more aerial attacks where you have the Air Force more involved in things like that. Or once again, you're sending people out there. But even on side of that, like you said, that cybersecurity side of things, I do think it's going to be more of that as well, where these nations, they try to cripple infrastructure. These nations try to do things to cripple your economy, right? Maybe China sells all their freaking bonds, or they get Japan to sell all of their bonds in the U.S.
mhm.
to hurt and cripple us, to mess up our economy, right? I think it'll be things like that. But I hate to say this, and it's definitely starting. If it is World War III, of course, blood.
Oh
There's
yeah,
still going to be
blood
blood.
is going to be spilled. Blood is currently being spilled in those other
Yeah.
countries.
Once again, and my heart goes out to everybody on that side.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But I'm always gonna say, and even though it's dark times, it's still gonna be some money to be made. And these defense stocks, I'm just saying, if you're already not, in ETFs or something like that that are investing in these types of things, it might be some good way to diversify your portfolio. Companies like Boeing, Palantir, a lot of these companies have a lot of defense contracts. Just something to consider whenever we think about the next steps of things. Now, one interesting thing that I did want to point out with this, when we start talking about economic side of things, is the different economic position America is in compared to where we were for the two
Last time.
prior world wars. For the two prior world wars, there was a lot of economic uncertainty prior to it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a situation where unemployment was high, people were not investing, stocks were at all-time lows, things like that, right? Whereas now we're at constant all-time highs. I think we've from every dip we've had, we've recovered from over the last
Even today,
yeah,
bro.
ev-
All stocks were green, hitting all time highs today.
for the last ever since COVID, last 3 or 4 years, we've constantly recovered from any dip that's occurred in relatively fast fashion. Unemployment's low, labor market's tight, and the debt is fucking out of this world. I think the US debt is 36 trillion. For the last two wars, we were actually running surpluses. So that all those factors coming into play, it's like this is gonna be an interesting way. Cause I mean it's not like I think really when we start talking about this debt for the US debt, we just gotta start thinking that this is an imaginary number that ain't never gonna get paid back. They're never gonna pay this shit back, man. They're never gonna pay this back. I think I seen something that said like 56% of the United States tax revenue that they earn goes to interest. It's over half of the budget for the United States goes to interest payments.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is interesting because can we really saddle ourselves with more debt?
Yeah, nah. But that's once again, that's why I think all of this comes into play. Because if it is another World War III, you then restructure the economic landscape of everything. You reestablish world powers and all these other shits, and going for about the next 20 to 30 years, everybody playing game until some other fucking conflict come along.
Yep, but through it all, what I say, stay invested. Don't pull out just yet. It's a crazy roller coaster. This bit keep going up and down, but we ain't hit the down yet. Cause Bitcoin hit an all-time high again. And that's crazy. Like in the middle of global world potential war, we still hitting all-time high on what is considered a risky reserve asset.
Shout out to Bitcoin, man.
You know I'm gonna keep buying it. I love me some Bitcoin. But yeah, man, you had anything else you want to add on that last one, bro?
Nah, man. That's once again, thoughts and prayers go out to everybody. I really pray we can solve this peacefully. We don't have to get a World War III involved. I'm not trying to live through that. I don't want my kids to have to live through that. So yeah.
Wishful thinking. I think we're gonna
Say
deal
no
with
to
it.
nukes.
Say no to nukes, though. I am rocking with that.
I low key might make a shirt that say that.
Say no to nukes
Yeah.
and say yes to nudes.
Put that on the back.
No nukes, more nudes.
Yeah.
Nudes with two O's because we talking about noodle.
Okay.
I knew I was gonna piss you off with that one. But all right, guys. That is all for today's episode. We do hope that you enjoyed today's installment of the show. We definitely want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this? Y'all let us know. Make sure you leave us that 5-star rating and review. You know that's what we need. You know that's what we do. Jalen, you got anything you want to share with the good people before we close this bad boy out?
Once again, the 5-star rating and review. Y'all stay black-tastic, stay prayed up. Last thing with all of this, just kind of talking about the war, one of the biggest things that I keep on thinking about is that message that I shared that the pastor said. Preparation, bro. Stay prepared though. Like stay ready. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready in all aspects. Stay ready for whenever the market's dipping. Stay ready if you gotta get active, if shit get real. Stay fit. Whatever you gotta do, stay ready. I'm not telling you to be paranoid. Just stay ready. Stay ready so you have to get ready.
Real talk.
Yes, sir. So that's one of my biggest things that I do have to say. But we can also close this thing out with a prayer, man.
Yes, indeed. Go on, get us past the clap.
Yes, sir. Dear Heavenly Father, I ask you to just guide my thoughts and my words. We thank you for today again. Thank you for allowing us to deliver this message. We hope that it did not fall on deaf ears. We really hope that our community can come together as one, starting with the men and the women and teaching our younger ones the path of prosperity moving forward. We ask that everybody become blessed in abundance financially, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, all of the aspects that make a human being well-rounded and just really growing in positive directions. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen and amen. Yes, sir. My bad. I hit the microphone. But yes, sir. Appreciate you as always. Like I say, from his lips to God's ears. And until next time, y'all stay black, stay beautiful, stay wealthy. This is BWR signing out. Peace.
Peace.